have no idea if you're going to be able to see this, but it is a perfectly sunny, clear day. Beautiful sun. Going to get a good charge on the solar panels, and it's snowing. The only thing I can think is it's so cold that it's crystallizing the moisture in the air. I mean, I really don't know what the deal is. This is incredible. I'm going to show you the clouds. I mean, there's a few puffy clouds in the sky, but nothing that looks like snow clouds. That's just insane. It's kind of a chilly morning this morning. It got down to 16 degrees last night. I don't know if it ever got down that low. When I woke up this morning, it was 19 degrees. I started a fire. A little breezy. Last night it got really breezy. It kind of shook the house a little bit. That is just something. Never seen. I don't think I've ever seen that before. I'm going to come over here. See, behind me is south, and in front of me here, turn around, is north. I'm looking at the camera so you can see the clouds. Make sure you got the clouds. There's just no clouds in the sky to mention. Just a beautiful sunny day, and the breeze coming from the north, of course. Now, thing is, this is temperature is only going to last a few days, and then we're going to get back into the 60s. Those have actually been a little bit more complicated for us, is the warmer days where it gets cold, not cold, but chilly at night, like 40s. And don't know how to heat the house. It just gets so darn hot with the wood heat. We ran the propane through the last warm spell, and we've used a full 20-pound tank of propane, and those being $20 a piece. I mean, you just don't want to use too much of that. Then you start getting into regular cost of heating. I mean, I don't know, $20 a month for heat costs. I don't know if that's terrible, but regardless, I'd rather not use any of it if I don't have to. But this has been a weird winter. I mean, snowing and sunny, 40 to 60 degree temperatures. It didn't even get cold until January, I mean, to speak of. So I guess the only thing we can do is reduce the costs on heating, is just open a window, but then you're wasting firewood. I just feel like, man, I don't want to waste that kind of firewood. I'm gonna go down and feed the chickens. It's about an hour after I made the first little piece where I was talking about the snow. The snow has stopped, and there's even fewer clouds now and even more sun. So I don't know what it was. I guess the moisture in the air. My guess was yesterday was warmer temperatures, and we had a southern breeze, so maybe there was more moisture in the air and it just froze up. Now it's cold. I don't know. It was neat to see all that reflection from the sun. So I'm gonna let the chickens out. We're gonna give them some corn. Corn helps them stay warm. We're gonna take them off corn pretty soon so they don't get overheated in the summertime. The corn fattens them up, gives them a little bit extra insulation. So you don't want that insulation in the summer. They'll overheat and die. Oh. Everything is frozen to the ground, all these bricks. So here maybe you'll see everything is frozen. Oh, it makes it impossible. This is the first time the chickens have been out in a while because all the snow on the ground. I was afraid they'd get frostbite on their feet. The Americanas, the one eating out of my hand right now, the colored ones, like eating out of my hand better than the others. Not sure why. They're definitely less friendly. There's another Americana. That's Two-Face. So I thought I'd try to answer some questions. Cold weather. I was asked the other day, what is the highs and lows during the wintertime in your area? And I don't really understand the question. I mean, it fluctuates so much. I think somebody's sneezing. I think she's sneezing. That's cute. So last year we got down to, I don't know, around single digits, maybe even the negative digits for about 2 weeks. And that was our first year in the tiny house. I mean, we got in there in January. By February, it got really cold. And so we had some difficulties. And so the second part of the question is what is our emergency plan for the cold conditions? And I just don't understand the question. It's confusing to me, so I've been really trying to figure out how to answer this question, not completely understanding the question. I've never even considered having an emergency plan for cold conditions. And I can't imagine ever needing one, I guess is the better way to put it. So let me kind of walk you through what we've got. I suppose the biggest risk we have is the chickens. So let me start with the chickens first. If it got too cold with the chickens, they might have a problem. And of course, they're winter birds. We only got birds that would survive wintertime. So we got Americanas, Buff Orpingtons, and New Hampshires. Rhode Islands would fit into that category. There's a bunch of them that do really well in the winter, but others don't do well in the winter. So you want to look at that if winter is going to be an issue. We could put a light in there, but they're very dangerous. Putting a light in there, more chickens die from fires in the coop when somebody puts a light in there. Now, what we did when we was raising the chickens, you know, from little chicks up to 8 weeks old or so, is we used hot water to keep them warm. A lot of people use a heat lamp. We used hot water, and every couple hours I change out the water. I just use a quart jar. They were in the house. That kept their temperature up. Now, what I think I would do in the coop if it got that cold is a similar idea. I can warm water on the stove. It gets up to almost 180 degrees or so, and I can warm it up, put it in a bucket or some metal thing, and put it in the coop every couple hours, and that would help give them some heat if they needed heat. We've considered that, and it's not a big deal. The other thing I could do is I could take straw bales and I could wrap it completely around the chicken coop at night. That would keep them warm. But it stays pretty warm in there. As a matter of fact, the other night it got pretty cold and they were all inside, and I opened the door. I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I open the door around 5:30 before they get out of bed so they can come straight out if they want. And I would say there was a good 10 to 15 degree difference. I could feel the heat just from their bodies wafting out on me. So they huddle together and they'll rotate around. So the bird on the outside is, I just noticed that we got another chicken laying eggs. Frenchie just proved it to me. Males only mate with females that are laying eggs. And so more and more of the chickens are starting to lay eggs the longer the days are. They reduce the number of eggs they produce during the wintertime. Some of them quit. But so I don't know if chickens would be that big of a deal taken care of. I mean, it's extra work, but it's not that bad. And if worse came to worse, I could run the generator and put a heat lamp in there. I mean, so straw bales, hot water, and as a last resort, a heat lamp. Now, as far as water, the tank that we have, I've showed you the tank many times. I guess it has the potential to freeze. It really does, especially for long, extended cold temperatures. But I fill it up every other day, and if it got that cold, I'd probably fill it up every day with well water. The well water's 60 degrees. So as you're putting the well water inside that cold tank, it raises the temperature of the tank up. But again, it could freeze. However, the well itself can't freeze. I've explained this before. I've got it designed where the water always drains back down into the well. So the pipe on the well is always empty, except when I'm running it. And so I think that would be the most critical, is making sure that you have water. All that being said, even if the well for some reason didn't work, there's a natural spring just maybe a mile down the road, and it won't freeze because it's coming out of the mountainside, the hillside. So it's coming out at 60 degrees all the time. And they got it all designed. I've taken you down there before. They got it all designed so you can just dip your bucket down in there. And that thing's got to be 100 years old by now, 200, 150 years old. It was designed a long time ago. You can tell it's neat. So then as far as heat, this is where I just don't understand the question. As you know, we have, I would say, a conservative estimate, we probably have 20 years of firewood. I thought we only had 11 years, but we didn't use hardly any firewood this year. And if that trend continues, then the 11 years that I have would double. That gives me 20 years. It could be more than that. So I will refill what we use each year, be a truckload, maybe 2. somebody giving away free firewood, I'll go get it. I won't have to get as much as I did last year, because last year I was trying to get 15 cords. We got 11, so I won't have to work as hard. It won't be hard to get a couple truckloads. That'd be pretty easy. And like I said, everybody gives away free firewood. I think all of that actually now is all free. That somebody advertised on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, and we picked it up. So if it got so cold we had to use more firewood, there's no way we could use that much firewood. We just would not be physically able to use that much firewood. And that little tiny house is insulated. It has 2x6s in the walls instead of 2x4s. So I think that's R19, don't quote me, I forget. But it's using insulation to fill in 2x6s. Most houses are 2x4s. It holds the heat in so well. When it snows, you'll see all the houses around has big patches of roof still visible because heat has went through the ceiling and out the roof. Ours is insulated so well, it just stays covered with snow. When it gets down into the teens at night, I'll get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and restoke the fire, put another log in it. But most of the time, I just start the fire at 9 o'clock, and it stays warm in the house until 5 a.m. when I get up. And it's never been colder than 63 degrees in the house. Most of the time, it's 68 to 70 degrees. We have a backup portable buddy heater on propane. It wouldn't keep us warm very long in a really extreme temperatures, but it heats up the house pretty quick. It'll raise the temperature in that house 10 degrees in a half hour on high. So all day long, you just turn it on, turn it off. I used it when it was down in the 20s outside temperature, just to see if it would keep up, and it does. The only other emergency I could imagine is that the wood stove stopped working for some reason, and I just don't even understand what that would be. All that being said, it wouldn't be that hard to just go and get another wood stove. You can buy them at Home Depot and Lowe's. I mean, I wouldn't want to, they're expensive, but you could go get one real quick. So I think we have all the emergencies covered, and I think people just overthink things way too much. This lifestyle is so simplistic that it's not even hard to do. If you'll check out this up next box, it takes you over my other channel. I'd appreciate it if you'd watch that video and share it with your friends on other social media sites. I'd really appreciate it. So I hope I can inspire you to stay warm when you're living your dream. Thanks for watching.